What's going on, everybody? This is Kraken, and today I'm stoked to bring you guys another video about some of the coverage I did for Guild Wars 2 over this last weekend. Alright, so today we're going to talk about dynamic events and basically how they work in the game, and also what I generally thought about them, and if they were fluid or if they're, just if I didn't like them, or just whatever. I'm just going to be talking about them. I'm showing about 3 different dynamic events. Some of them I didn't start filming until I was basically like halfway through it, so I do apologize for some of that. But this one I just started when I was actually playing, and literally this little baby char dude, it's like a little char kid, came up to me and is like, "Hey, my dad needs help catching devour eggs. Can you help me?" So I was like, okay, sweet. So I do believe that is kind of like he's an instance NPC, because I didn't see him going up to anyone else, and I knew I would have figured that they got the same guy telling him to go do that, which is really cool. Just kind of like it adds to the whole like depth of the dynamic event experience. Like all of a sudden, like this event popped up, and you get someone telling you vocally, running up to you and saying, "Hey, we need some help. Can you help us?" I think that's really, really awesome. It's it makes it, the immersion standpoint just makes it awesome. Obviously, you can see I'm only level 2. It is a level 3 event, and I'm fighting level 4 mobs, which in a lot of games you might say, oh, well, they're just 2 levels ahead of you. I mean, yes, you're going up against 3 different ones, but, oh, well, like, you should be going down a little bit. Well, yes and no, because one thing, if I was level 4 or level 3, I wouldn't have been taking such a big hit. The NPC damage in Guild Wars 2 is it's not ridiculous, but it's pretty up there. It's definitely, it's nothing to mess around with, pretty much. As you can see, all these devour eggs on the ground, and I didn't realize that I was supposed to actually pick these up while the mom was attacking this noisemaker. That's what those little things on the ground you can see, and once she's done with that, she comes back and makes her nest all nice again, so I can't get any eggs. I was like, what the heck? This is impossible. This is impossible. But then after a little bit, I figured out how to do it. Unfortunately, since there were, obviously all these people here are different players, the thing is, I was on Darkhaven, and that was one of the biggest servers. See, I finally figured out to actually pick up the Devour Eggs now. I was on Darkhaven, which is one of the biggest servers, and so some of the dynamic events that we had were like, generally meant, like I could see, meant for about maybe 10 people max. We had 50 people in there, just mobbing hordes. There's a little dude that helped me. It's a little cute shark guy. Sorry, I'm targeting him, but I didn't really make a point to say anything. Anyways, but there was like 50 people going all around, and just like, it was really, really hectic. So I don't know, like, it was just one of those things where it was a lot of people, and since was only the beta weekend, everyone was starting at the exact same time, so all the dynamic events were just hordes of people were going around, and so my frame rate was just like complete crap. Fortunately, there weren't very many people here, and so I could record this, and I figured since this was more like not a hole in the wall kind of event, but like probably a lot of people didn't experience this. So if you did go in the beta weekend, you might not have seen this dynamic event. Anyway, so like we finally figured out that we gotta get these devour eggs, we gotta wreck the nest, gotta kill the little hatchlings, and then get as many devour eggs as you can. Since I was level 2, I was like, well, I'm not really helping all that much, so I might as well just grab as many eggs as possible, since we got my warrior friend over here, Varn Blackbane. It's funny because he actually, that's his name. He actually put that name on there. It's not like he just has like a random last name. Anyways, so I decided to help him out a little bit afterwards. And but yeah, this is basically a gathering quest, only it's it's a dynamic event, so it's not always here. So you just you get the eggs and you take them back to that guy, but you can give them 4 eggs, 5 eggs. It doesn't really matter. You can just continue to bring them as many as you want. I mean, probably a lot of these guys that are fighting them right now, are they have probably a lot of eggs that they need to give him, and so you can see the devour eggs. My contribution was 9 devour eggs. It doesn't actually say how many he needs, but it's like it's about half done. And so, oh no, one of my friends here he's in the down state, so I need to go help revive him so he doesn't die. So like, try and click. Come on, Kraken, you got this. There you go. And so this is basically how the death mechanic works. These people, as you see on the ground, they have a blue symbol above their heads, and they need help to revive them. So and it's also, you also get experience if you revive them. You see, 44 experience. That's about twice as much as you get from killing NPCs. You get for actually reviving people. So it really encourages that cooperation, which is really awesome, because I mean, some people might say, oh well, I need to get to level 80 exactly as fast as I possibly can, and reviving people just takes too long. And it's like, well, since it does give a lot of XP, I think you'll be able to kneel down. And also, since the people they help you complete the event and everyone gets the same amount of experience, it's really not too bad of a thing to actually help each other out. But I really do like that they encourage that. And also, if you didn't know, if you touch, or if you smack a mob, or like if you help someone kill a mob, you will get just as much of experience as they do. You don't have to you don't have to be in group with them for that to happen. You just have to just hit the mob, once, and you'll get experience for it. And so as you can see, this dynamic event is done, and they do allow more time once he is done with all of his eggs. So if you haven't given him any eggs, you can actually go back there, and you have about a minute to give him more eggs, which is really awesome. I think that's also a very good thing, just in case like you were helping people out and you didn't actually get a chance to go back and give the guy the gathering eggs. So as you can see, basically all 3 of the dynamic events that I did do were more gathering type. They're a little bit lower key, so I do apologize. There's a lot of really actiony crazy events, like all of a sudden a boss jumps out and starts attacking you and just like goes crazy. And so I think that's really those events are really exciting. But unfortunately, every time I tried to record those events, my frame rate dropped so drastically, because majority of the amount of time there were a lot of people around, and unfortunately a lot of people equals a lot of particle effects. My machine's just not that good, and so every time I recorded, I could play the game just fine. My frame rate never dropped, but when I was recording, it was like cut in half, just because I'm recording on a laptop. Like, I can only do so much, so I do apologize for some of that. Also, the graphics are on the most minimum settings they possibly could, because that's the only way I could do it while I was recording, unfortunately. So I mean, the thing is, the game still looks really pretty, even though it's on poop settings. Like, it's just straight up the worst settings that you can. But as you can see, we're trying to, now we're on another dynamic event here, and we're trying to get cannonballs, and we're killing script thieves, which are basically their little gnolls. But the funny thing is, instead of just picking up like the devour eggs, you actually have to pick up these cannonballs and give them to the lady. This is actually a girl. I know it's kind of weird, but she looks like a dude. But Char just kind of like that, so don't judge. But I think it's hilarious that, like, look at how big those like the cannonballs are a little bit large when you see them on the ground, but then when you actually pick them up, they're like 3 times as big. That is just friggin' hilarious. But it works though. Like, it actually adds a lot, because you're actually holding something. It's like you're really, really actually trying to help out, and you actually have to pick up the cannonballs. I think these kind of environmental weapons, and the funny thing is you could actually throw the cannonballs at these little script thieves, and we're able to, kill them and stuff. As you can see, I am on a warrior, and I have a sword and a one-handed shield. So a one-handed sword and a shield, and so that's basically the setup I went for at the beginning of it. So I got a pretty nice little shield here, and I got a one-handed sword, and so it's more defensive. You get a lot more armor with the shield, and so you don't take as much of a hit once you have it. And then you also have some cool abilities, like you can block attacks. And then with my my one-handed sword, I could charge someone, and then I could also I could slow them, and then just my one attack, it just gave a bleed debuff on them. And so, I mean, it still did damage too. And also, as you can see, my F1 key is my burst skill. So with a warrior, what it does is basically you press F1 and you just burst really, you know, hard on the person, and like you build that adrenaline up. It's almost like rage on like a warrior in World of Warcraft, only it's like a bonus thing. Like all your abilities, you don't have to have a certain amount of rage. It's all about cooldowns, and which is a case in a lot of the classes in Guild Wars 2. There's only one profession that has an actual resource, which is the thief class, which is more, they basically have energy just like normal rogue does. And so there you can see I used my burst skill right there. Didn't really do a whole lot because I basically face rolled that guy. I am level 5, and as you can see, I'm actually, that green parentheses, that's 4 in the parentheses, that is actually my effective level. So it actually scaled me down from 5 to 4, because that is the max level in this area is level 4. And so, which is really interesting, and also really cool, because one thing, I could be level 50 and still come back in this area and still have a challenge. And as you can see, we're all done. I gave them 6 different cannonballs, and so the lady is all happy, and then I can see him shield bashing them and swiping them with my sword, which is pretty great. Anyways, but yeah, I could be like level 50 and come back here and just quest, just like, or not really quest, but just hang out and get just as much experience as I would if I was actually a level 4. I was a little bit bored, and so I was like, hey look, cannons, those are all cool. And so I wanted to check out, see if I could command these cannons, which I could. And so I decided to give you guys a little bit of a fun. Basically, these are just these environmental weapons. It's basically what this is. It's a stationary one. Most of them you can actually pick up, but it's just fun things to do around, just random things. Of course, this has nothing to do with any kind of quest. Maybe there's a dynamic event where you actually have to kill these target dummies, or maybe this was just like practice for when you're in World versus World and you want to you know, blow something up or blow some people up, which is just really awesome. Now we're going to the last basically dynamic event. This was another gathering one. This is actually a dynamic event chain that I was doing on my, as you can see, this is a engineer. If you didn't know, I'm rolling with pistol, and I just got my rifle turret, which is awesome. But basically, these Scrit guys, the guys that I was fighting back there, you can see one right there. I guess he's a forager, but he's still Scrit. They attacked this this lumber mill, and they stole a bunch of tools. And the first one was they were attacking the lumber mill, and they were trying to steal all the tools. And so we were trying to fight them back. As you can see, I'm level 5, and this is a level 7 event, and I'm fighting things that are level 7. Kraken, why are you always under the level? Most of the time, like almost every time, I was under the level. But I was still able to do it because engineers are awesome, and rifle turrets are obviously tanks. No, just kidding. But the funny thing is the NPCs do actually go attack your turrets before they go attack you on a engineer, which is kind of hilarious in my opinion, because I'm just like going around, I'm like, okay, blue shot, you're stuck. The amount of conditions you can put on with pistol is kind of ridiculous, and if you do it right, you can do a lot of damage. It's actually pretty great on an engineer. But as you can see, I took my tanking turret out. I'm not even going to say the rifle turret, but they killed it in like 2 seconds because it's a lot less. But as you can see, I'm just kiting these guys around as much as I can, using my dodge roll to just not die because I really didn't want to die while I was recording because then it would look silly. Like I'm really close. I'm killing them, and then I actually got out of their aggro range, and so I was like, hey, I still want to kill you. What are you doing? But anyway, so as you can see, I am this dynamic event chain started when these guys were attacking. Right behind me is the lumber mill, and they were attacking the lumber mill and they were stealing the tools, and so you had to basically stop and kill those guys when they were doing that. So, and unfortunately, since one, I was level 5 and these guys were level 7, so they were basically face rolling me when they were attacking the lumber mill, as you can see right there in the background. And like they were face rolling me, and then there was also like 2 people. You can that player was there, and then this player, Carpe Noctu. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that one. And also this ranger was around as well, but there's too many of them, and we actually failed it. And it was really funny because once it was done, it was like, hey, you failed this dynamic event, and it was like a little exclamation point, like, haha. I'm like, what? We failed? That sucks. What the heck? And so, but unfortunately, so basically what happened was then it spawned another dynamic event, which was this one, which was you need to go to attack all the tools. So it's basically just this 2 chain. I don't think there was a dynamic event after that. There might be another one where you have to actually kill like their chief or something like that. But it was just it was really fun and really interesting to check out. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. I hope I was clear. I know I was watching this and trying to commentate and talk about different subjects in regards to dynamic events as I could. Sometimes the dynamic events don't really pop up, and there's only those true heart events, and which true heart events are basically events that are always going on, and once you complete them once, you've already completed them, so there's no really point to continue to do that. I don't think they'll let you do it again because it says like the heart was like empty on your map, and then it was filled once you helped the person because you filled their heart with love. Just kidding. But this was definitely it was a very good experience. I really enjoyed the dynamic events, and it was very fresh, and since they weren't always there, it wasn't like, oh well, this is just quests in an action form. It's like, no, like I got excited basically every time you see a dynamic event because they weren't always around in the zone. There wasn't always a dynamic event going on, and most of the time they would pop up like randomly, like, oh look, not randomly, like they were obviously staged and stuff like that. Like the dynamic event was an event. Like one time I had to repel a bunch of forces on my guardian, and it was a bunch of these rat guys, like the big rat guys, and that was in the Norn starting area, and we had like 30 people over there, and people were going down all left and right, and I was reviving people, and they were like 3 levels ahead of me because I'm always going in places where I shouldn't be while I was playing. But it was just a blast. I had a great time. It was definitely, especially those dynamic events, those were very engaging. Those were super good. I mean, like, these ones were fun because it's like, oh well, you actually are helping them out, but they were like more low-key and more like relaxing. There's a lot of them that are, you got to defend a place. I mean, like the one before, the one where I had to go get the logging tools, I had to go defend, stop them from leaving with all the tools. And so that was a lot more actiony. There's, the NPCs were calling for help and all this other stuff. It was the immersion with these dynamic events is just crazy. It's really awesome. I really enjoy how they do have them. And they really, I really like that they don't have them up all the time. There's not like 3 dynamic events always going on in a zone, and you can't really, usually you don't see them until you're on like your mini map, and like you're like, oh look at the end, then it like a little notification said like new nearby event, and then you look on your map, and like once you're really close to it, you can see where it is, and you're like, oh sweet, and so you go jump on that and go see what's happening. One time there was like a chain event where I was on my char, and it was, I mean, there were like a lot higher than I was, but there was basically like 4 boss battles that we were going. You know, we were trying to attack all these ghost lieutenants. They were Ascalonian ghosts, and they were level 10 guys. And so first they had like the trash that we had to kind of clear, and it almost felt like a raid, honestly. I mean, like really, like if we were level 5, we were level 7 or 8, and it literally, because we did actually had like 15 people in there. It felt like a raid because we had to like clear trash, and then when the boss came, like they were very very simple mechanics. Like one of them like was an archer, and he like threw arrows in the air, and you know if you stayed in that for more than 2 seconds, you were on the ground, and someone had to go revive you and stuff like that. So, but there's 3 or 4 events that were like chained right together, and so we went in there, we killed the first boss, went killed the second one, killed the third, and then we were done. We are like, oh look at that, and like you know, and at the end of it was a skill point, and so that was very very and skill points you can use to spend to actually unlock utility skills, which are always are very good. Those are basically your skills that you always have on, no matter what kind of weapons you have on. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too long. But my experiences with the dynamic events and the true heart events were very very good. I definitely enjoyed how they have their questing set up. Basically in Guild Wars 2, it was very fresh. There was no reading of text. It was very clear of what they needed to do. There wasn't anything like too earth-shattering. There wasn't like crazy coolness when it comes to you know, doing the dynamic events. Like, you know, basically we've seen everything before in different games, you could say, but it was very very fun, very very engaging, and very very immersive compared to the classic exclamation point over the head, read the wall of text, and go kill 10 rats. It was definitely, they went totally away from that, and they're doing a great job. So I hope you guys do keep it classy. And if you like this video, please like this video. If you want to subscribe to my channel, awesome, do it. But this has been Kraken, and I will talk to you guys later.